Calcharo, aka Walmart Sephiroth. In today's video, we are going to talk about Calcharo and which weapons he should use on his character, best team comps, best echo sets, and of course, how many copies you need on him in order for him to work. So let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and hop right into the video. Now, if we take a look at Calcharo's kit, the number one thing that you guys should focus on is his Forte circuit, and the second thing that you guys should focus on is Resonance Liberation, and last but not least is Resonance Skill. So Forte circuit is the most important thing for Calcharo because he is a unit that specializes in enhanced basic attack. And when we take a look at his Forte circuit, it literally says right here that when Calcharo has 3 cruelty, his heavy attack is replaced with heavy attack mercy. When casting heavy attack mercy, Calcharo consumes 3 cruelty to deal electro damage, considered as heavy attack damage, and recovers resonance energy and concerto energy. So you guys can clearly see that in his Forte circuit, heavy attack is extremely important because when you use his resonance skill 3 times, he's going to have like a combo chain. When you do his resonance skill 3 times, he is going to activate cruelty, and when he activates cruelty, you're going to hold basic attack and he's going to do his heavy attack, and that's how he's going to activate heavy attack mercy. So he is a unit that specializes in, of course, enhanced basic attack and heavy attack. Now for his Resonance Liberation, he enters a mode where his basic attack is enhanced, and of course he's dealing electro damage. So you want to pair him up with units who can pretty much increase his basic attack and units who can pretty much increase his electro damage, because his Resonance Liberation is what makes him a complete powerhouse. Now for his resonance skill, it's not really that important, but you only need it to pretty much build up his cruelty stacks. When it comes to damage, you don't really have to focus on leveling up resonance skill for damage. You only want to use his resonance skill to build up the cruelty stacks so that he'll be able to activate that insane heavy attack. Now when we take a look at his inherent skill, Bloodshed Awaken, this is an extremely important inherent skill because it says when casting heavy attack mercy, Calcharo's Resonance Liberation damage bonus is increased by 10% for 15 seconds. So you guys already know that Calcharo's Resonance Liberation is what makes him really strong Electro DPS unit because he has enhanced basic attack. So you want to make sure that you're actually increasing the Resonance Liberation damage so that he'll be able to do a lot of basic attack damage. So inherent skill Bloodshed Awaken is really good for him. You want to make sure that you activate this so that when he casts his heavy attack, you can increase the damage bonus of his ultimate. Now for the last inherent skill, Revenant Rush, it can give him some solid survivability. He'll be able to receive less damage when he uses his heavy attack Death Messenger. This is a really good inherent skill when you want to increase his survivability, because I'll be honest, Calcharo does take a lot of damage because he's on field most of the time. So you want to make sure that he gets a lot of survivability as much as possible. So activating Revenant Rush is a good option for Calcharo. I definitely recommend you guys to use Revenant Rush because it will lower the amount of damage he receives from enemies. Now you don't want to increase his basic attack because it's not the same as his Resonance Liberation, because in his Resonance Liberation he's going to have enhanced basic attack. So the basic attack that is called Gnawing Fangs, it's not the same exact thing. So you don't want to increase this. It's a waste of time. You only want to increase Resonance Liberation, Forte Circuit, and Resonance Skill. Resonance Skill is just for additional damage, but your main priority is of course Forte Circuit and Resonance Liberation. Basic attack and intro skill is not really worth it. Now the best weapon in slot for Calcharo is Verdant Summit. This is the weapon for GN, and the reason why this weapon is so strong for him is because it has crit damage. And when we take a look at the passive, it says increases the damage bonus of all resonance attributes by 12% every time intro skill or Resonance Liberation is cast, increases heavy attack damage bonus by 24%, stacking up to 2 times. This effect lasts for 14 seconds. So this is absolutely perfect for Calcharo because he is going to use his heavy attack. So when he uses his heavy attack, he's going to receive a huge damage bonus from Verdant Summon. And on top of that, when he's using his Resonance Liberation, he will get a huge attack increase and damage boost from this weapon. So this weapon is absolutely busted on Calcharo. This is indeed the best 5-star weapon in slot for Calcharo. Now another good secondary option is Lustrous Razor. This weapon is going to give him additional energy regeneration, which is going to allow him to use his ultimate a lot more often. Plus, he's going to receive an increase of resonance liberation damage by 7%, which is going to stack up to 2 times. So in total, you're going to receive 14% resonance liberation damage, which is really nice. So this is another good option if you don't have the main weapon that I just talked about. Now, when we talk about 4-star weapons, a good 4-star weapon for him would be the Autumn Trace. This is a battle pass weapon. Just to let you guys know, this is not a free-to-play weapon, but the stats that you'll get from this weapon is crit rate. As you guys can see, you can get like some crit rate, which is really nice. And then when we look at the passive, it says increases attack by 4% upon dealing basic attack damage or heavy attack damage, stacking up to 5 times. This effect lasts for 7 seconds and can be triggered 1 time every 1 second. So this is a very strong 4-star weapon for Calcharo because he is going to do a lot of basic attack damage, and on top of that, he's going to use his heavy attack whenever using his resonance skill. So this is a really good 4-star weapon to use for him. But just to warn you guys, this is not a free-to-play weapon. This is a weapon that is in the battle pass. So you have to buy this weapon in order for you to have access to it. Now, a good 3-star weapon for him would be Broad Blade of Night. This weapon can give him a decent amount of attack percentage, and on top of that, it can increase his damage whenever he uses his intro skills. So when you switch to Calcharo, he's going to receive an additional 8% attack, which is going to last for 10 seconds. This isn't the strongest weapon for him, obviously, but if you want to, if you're budgeting and you're trying to save for an upcoming unit, then Broad Blade of Night would be a very, very good option for Calcharo. Plus, it is a 3-star weapon, so you can easily ascend this weapon so that you can receive some more attack. Now, when we talk about echoes, now since he is an Electro DPS unit, you want to use a set that focuses on increasing his electro damage, and the best set for that is Void Thunder. Void Thunder is going to give him additional electro damage, and on top of that, it's going to basically synchronize with the fact that he is using his heavy attack and resonance skill. So whenever he uses his heavy attack and resonance skill, he's going to receive an electro damage bonus. So this is the best in slot echo set for Calcharo. Now, second best in slot for him is going to be Lingering Tunes. Lingering Tunes is going to give him additional attack, and when he's on the field, his attack is going to increase by 5% every 1.5 seconds. The effect can stack up to 4 stacks, and the actual skill damage is going to be 60% additional damage. So Lingering Tunes is also a really good set for him. If you are comfortable with Lingering Tunes, then this is also a really, really good option for Calcharo. Now, when we talk about main stats, the main stats that you guys should focus on is crit damage, attack percentage, and electro damage bonus. If your crit rate is below 50%, then you want to at least get over 60% crit rate so that he'll be able to do a lot of crit. But if you have a lot of crit, then you want to switch on over to crit damage so that you can balance it out. So the top stats, like I said, crit damage, crit rate, attack percentage, and electro damage bonus. Now for sub stats, you want to get energy regeneration in his sub stat because Calcharo prioritizes his ultimate. His ultimate is what makes him really, really good. So you want to make sure that you're always having access to Calcharo's ultimate, and energy regeneration is the main stat that is going to help him activate his ultimate all the time. And then after that, you want to get some crit rate or crit damage, and then you want to get some attack percentage. Then you want to get some basic attack damage bonus because in his ultimate, he's going to be dealing some enhanced basic attack damage. So if you get that basic attack damage bonus, he's going to deal a lot more damage when he's in his ultimate. And then after that, you want to get some resonance liberation damage bonus. Now, when it comes to team comps, there are currently 2 best teams for Calcharo. So the team that I'm going to talk about is, of course, Calcharo, who's going to be your main DPS unit. We have Jinshin. The reason why Jinshin is really good in this team is because when we take a look at Jinshin, she is a unit that increases resonance liberation. So that is really, really good for Calcharo because he is a unit who specializes in his ultimate, and Jinshin is going to increase his ultimate damage, which is really good overall. She's going to increase his ultimate damage by like 38%. That is crazy. And of course, you want to have Arena because Arena is going to increase your damage and she is going to be your main healer. And if for team number 2 is going to include, of course, Calcharo, Verena, and Yinlin. Yinlin is not in the game yet, but she will be coming in June. So Yinlin is going to be a perfect unit for Calcharo because she is going to increase his electro damage bonus and Resonance Liberation. So she is absolutely busted with Calcharo. So if you guys are maining Calcharo and you want him to be your best DPS unit in your account, I highly advise you guys to save all of your currency for Yinlin, because Yinlin is going to be bread and butter with Calcharo. Now we're going to go ahead and do a showcase with this team. Now my Genshin, her level isn't high enough, but that doesn't matter because her main focus is to pretty much buff Calcharo's Resonance Liberation damage. So as long as she's able to do that, that's all that matters. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and hop right into the showcase. So we were able to get 2 stars right there, and that gameplay was really fun. Calcharo is by far the best Electro DPS unit in the game, and of course we're going to have Yinlin, who is coming soon, who is going to pretty much increase his overall potential. So this team, you guys should definitely use this team as of to right now, because Genshin is an amazing unit to pair up with Calcharo due to the fact that she is going to increase his ultimate damage. So let's go ahead and talk about how many copies he needs. So if you are a free-to-play player and you're worried as of to, how many copies you need in order for Calcharo to work, well, I have good news for you guys. Calcharo requires no copies. He is a unit that requires absolutely 0 copies. He is perfectly fine at S0. But if you are thinking about getting more copies on him, we can go ahead and take a look at his copies. So at S1, it says Extermination Order hits a target. It additionally recovers 10 resonance energy. this can be triggered once every 20 seconds. So when he's using his resonance skill, he's going to, of course, increase his resonance liberation. So S1 just gives him a lot more energy, which is really good because his liberation is what's going to make him do a lot of damage overall. So S1 is actually really, really nice. And then when we take a look at S2, after Calcharo casts intro skill wanted criminal or intro skill necessary means, his resonance skill damage bonus is increased by 30% for 15 seconds. Now, his S2 isn't really that crazy because his liberation and of course his forte circuit is what's going to make him really good. And his resonance skill damage isn't really a necessity. You only need to build up his stack so that he can do that insane heavy attack damage. So S2 isn't really a big deal, but I see it as just an additional and a bonus, and that's pretty much it. And then for S3, in his resonance liberation state, his electro damage bonus is going to increase by 25%. So that's actually really, really nice, which is going to increase his overall damage. And then for S4, after casting outro skill Shadowy Raid, electro damage bonus of all team members is increased by 20% for 30 seconds. So this is pretty much a support constellation. This is a support copy. S4 pretty much allows him to be an electro support unit so that he can increase everyone's electro damage on the team. And then for S5, intro skill wanted criminal and intro skill necessary means deals 50% more damage. And then for S6, when casting Resonance Liberation Death Messenger, Calcharo will summon 2 phantoms to perform coordinated attacks. Each phantom deals electro damage equal to 100% of Calcharo's attack, which is considered Resonance Liberation damage. So S6, he's going to do nuclear damage because he's going to summon 2 additional phantoms on the battlefield. So his S6 is of course absolutely crazy, but I feel like if you are trying to get some copies on him, then I highly recommend you guys to go for at least S1. S1 is really, really nice because he's going to get that additional energy for his ultimate. But like I said, he is a unit that works perfectly fine at S0. So if you have him at S0, you don't have to worry about it. That's pretty much all I have for you guys in this guide video. Hopefully it was able to help you guys out. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it. And I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.